that's not a bad backdrop you've got there behind you.
What? Oh, those little things?
Those old things.
Yeah. Oh.
There's only
Yeah.
room for three of them right there. You're gonna have to get a
Yeah.
new.
The other one, it's like a relic.
Yeah, yeah.
She's had a little wear and tear on her, but she's okay. She's up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, we're just rolling on this thing. There ain't no fancy intro or anything. So,
Okay.
um,
Good.
we're I'll put this out next week. So we're recording this right before both of our one of our favorite events last
Yes.
year. We did we did the tailgate thing last year about this same time, and
Yep.
you nailed John Rahm.
Yeah.
Who we riding this week?
Uh, I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to go with Scotty Scheffler. I would say my second pick would be Wyndham Clark.
Okay. You liking
I
him?
think, yeah, I mean, he's pretty solid. He's pretty solid. He's played really well in the last year.
Yeah. He seems like a big like mindset guy because there was like no success early on for him. And then I don't know,
Yeah,
I've read some of his stuff about like mindset and just
got a
things that
mental
like
coach.
yeah, things that clicked for him and it's just I mean, he's taken it obviously to the stratosphere.
Yeah, the my only concern with him is it's his first time playing in Augusta, so
Yeah.
that's a concern. But and I also would say maybe Will Zalatoris because
Yeah.
I guess he's healthy now, but he played pretty good. What was it, 2 years ago when he finished
Yeah.
second?
When he's
So
healthy, he's I'm pulling up. I did one of those no ad here. I wish it was, but I did one of those DraftKings like where you get seven guys or whatever. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did one of those yesterday. And let's see. I had the third pick and so you've got it's snake draft. So I've got Rory, because hey, Scheffler and Rom were off the board.
Okay,
So
okay.
so I've
I'm with
got
you.
so I've got Rory, I've got Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland.
Yeah,
I took Spieth, which now he's showing questionable because he aggravated a left wrist at the Valero Texas Open. So that's great. Uh, I've got
he also hit the clubhouse. So
I've got Ludwig I don't know how to say his name. Aberg. It's his first
yeah,
one, but that dude is rock solid.
yeah, he's pretty
Uh,
good.
Max Homa and Shane Lowry. So I'm feeling pretty good about my seven.
I'll tell you what, Shane Lowry is an interesting pick because with the weather conditions, Thursday and Friday, especially Thursday,
Yeah,
he's a wet weather player.
yeah.
Um,
He's
I
he's
think,
he's one of my dark horse guys this week. Like
yeah,
not just like a top five, like to win.
yeah. Kepka's a good wet weather player. All those European guys
Yeah.
usually play pretty good in conditions.
Yeah. My other I've got one other I'm like you, I can't get away from Scheffler right now, but Lowry's one of my dark horses. My other dark horse is Russell Henley. I like Russell Henley. He played well there last year. He's from Georgia, played at Georgia. So he's got the little hometown deal going, but he's also played well enough to I won't necessarily say to get it done, but he's played well enough to be on the first page come Sunday.
Yeah, Patrick Reed, he's always scary at Augusta.
I don't want to talk.
Be
I hate Pat. I can't stand Patrick Reed.
really, really.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, okay, the live stuff. I mean, he's had me blocked on Twitter for about 5 years.
He
Um,
blocked you?
oh yeah, he blocks everybody on Twitter. I mean, I wear it like a badge of honor.
You
Um,
should.
I'm one of the first. I like to think I'm one of the. He's got my brother blocked. I'm blocked. He went on a blocking spree years ago. After I think all this probably happened I forget the tournament where
One of his
uh
cheating scandals.
well, yeah, I can't keep up with them. But that's why one of those
Yeah,
and just blocked me on Twitter. And he to me he seems like very mentally soft and the kind of the anti Wyndham Clark. And everybody knows that the Twitter account use golf facts is his wife, Justine.
oh
Everybody
really?
it's everybody knows it because it is like that account, all it does, it doesn't even like prop up Patrick like, hey, Patrick's playing great. It's not like that. It like tears down everybody else or like tears down people to prop him up, if that makes sense. Like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, Rory's done this, but here's what Patrick's done, that kind of thing, as if the two are comparable.
yeah.
And stuff like that. So uh yeah, he's always dangerous there, but I hope he finds Race Creek both days and misses a cut.
Nah, he's a good villain, man. He's a good
He
villain.
he's definitely that. So that's golf. Let's talk football.
Oh,
Um
okay.
so you got the job. What was that? January that we were there. That,
Yeah, I think so.
that what's it been like since then?
Uh, it's been like an 8-year-old that gets thrown in the deep end of the water, you know, and you're
Yeah.
paddling like crazy. Nah, it's been good, man. There were a lot of things going on in January. You're trying to, you know, I was trying to retain a lot of the staff. Obviously, for some of them, there were opportunities maybe to go to Hoover, and that's
Yeah.
alluring, obviously.
Sure.
Um, and so, but at the same time, it wasn't like people were looking for a job, 3 weeks before that. So everybody was pretty happy here.
Yeah.
And so just trying to retain those pieces. We got close to almost retaining everybody, but we had two casualties on the defensive side of the ball.
Who
Um, so
left?
so Coach Helms left. He
Okay.
took the DC job at Hoover. And then Nick Andrews is taking the DC job at Chilton County.
I saw that yesterday actually. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. So he's from Maplesville, so he's from there, and just
that
one of
makes
those.
sense.
It's just well, I don't look at that. As a lateral move. It was something. The next step in his coaching career.
Sure.
So we got to applaud those things when they happen,
Yeah.
and that having success, that's what happens. You lose coaches, but
Yeah.
we've been able to bring in a couple of guys to kind of fill in those gaps. So I think we're going to be all right.
Have these guys you brought in been board approved? Can you say names or no?
No, not yet, not yet.
Gotcha.
Everything will be kind of May, June when those things happen.
Okay. Cool. So what new responsibilities? What are the main differences you've learned so far being a coordinator to a head coach? What new things fall on your plate?
Well, I've got more keys. That's one thing.
You feel like a
Uh,
janitor in a way?
Yeah, and I don't know what any of them go to, and I'm not walking around to figure it out either. Uh, it's springtime. There's a lot that goes on. I think a lot of people think that fall time's your busy season, and really, I don't know. I mean, it's there's a lot more going on in the spring than it is the fall. I mean, fall you got to schedule everything set week to week. But in the springtime, I mean, you've got inventory, you got signing days, multiple signing days. You got, banquet, you got parent meetings, you've got, planning for spring and for summer, scheduling, 7-on-7 OTAs. There's a lot, and there's just a lot that goes on within that springtime.
Yeah. You mentioned those keys and not knowing where a lot of them go. Sounds like, I mean, I had heard about this for a while, but saw it come out last night. Sounds like some of those keys might be changing to certain doors in the next few years if y'all are getting a new football field, a new school, all the
Yeah.
things. How's that? I mean, as an alum too, what's that kind of like for you seeing some changes potentially coming in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, I know that a lot of people now don't probably know the history of this school. That there were a lot of jokes in '96 when this school was actually built. That it, the plans somehow got messed up, and it was
Flip
actually
flop with
supposed
Florida, yeah,
yeah, it was supposed to be a school that was built in Florida. So, I mean, from day one, we just kind of felt behind. We're just lagging just a little bit, um, and the actual home side stands
yeah,
at Clay-Chalkville were actually driven over here on
from
tractor
Shades,
trailers from Shades Valley.
yeah,
At that time, Shades Valley was the premier school in Jefferson County. And if you go and just look at the basic architecture of the school, you can tell
yeah,
one was a little better than the other.
yeah,
But I think just now, we're definitely on the cusp of becoming the first 7A school in Jefferson County, and so hopefully, they're going to invest in that because that's something that other people around the county are going to be looking toward, and so we're also trying to keep up with the Joneses per se of the other 7A schools that you could potentially be matched up with.
yeah. Like I read, what Ronnie Dixon, and for those who don't know Ronnie's on the Jefferson County Board of Education. He's Clay City's manager. Um, Ronnie wears a lot of hats,
Yep.
but him announcing that as of this recording last night, um, 2027, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
That I mean, I know you're not a builder. That seems aggressive to me since we're almost midway through 2024. It sounds like if that happens, if that timeline happens, because things with construction and bonds and materials and all that fun stuff has a lot of potential delays and stuff like that. I mean, it sounds like y'all are gonna at least get a new football stadium first. Is that the way I understood it?
Yeah, I think, kind of just the initial conversations are, they're going to build a football stadium first. And I'm not 100% on exactly where that's going
Sure.
to be, but once that's completed, um, tear down this stadium currently, and then that's where the new school will go. Um,
Okay.
and so they've got to get that built first so they can start on the school.
Start.
So, I mean, we've been talking about this for months, kind of behind the doors, and it's kind of been back and forth because there's probably three schools, that are in need of
Right.
new schools, and so it's just kind of they got to get all the money right and all that,
Oh yeah.
so there's the bonds you got to sell to get all that money allocated for this. But I think once that's done, I mean, I know I guess the architecture people, kind of mapping out, just space wise, what we need has kind of been going on. So it's kind of been in the works for a little bit. But hey, when it goes up, I believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, that like we said, when that happens, I mean, whether it's 2027, whether it's 2030, whatever, uh, all of that gives a whole new meaning to your hashtag there, Big Clay, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't. I definitely don't take credit for coming up with that. That is a saying of the people of Clay. A lot of people that what does that say?
Big Clay.
Love it,
I put it
love
up
it.
there for the episode.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we can send you an honorary shirt. We got
There we
some
go.
new big Clay shirts.
How about that?
Um, yeah. Uh, but no, I just saw a lot of kids use that phrase when they argue with who's better than who in the city, and so I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
And then when I kind of figured out that people would make funny comments to me like, "Oh, there's Big Clay," and so I was like, "Well, we'll just stir the pot, I guess." It
Yeah.
seems to bother some people. Um, so but I like it. It definitely, I think it does have some meaning though, because
Yeah.
when you look at just size of school, um, the amount of people that live in Clay and Chalkville, it's
Right.
pretty small to many other areas that compete at a high level.
Yeah.
Uh, I was thinking about this yesterday. Um, just I know you and I've talked about before the number of good players
Yeah.
that have been in this little northeast corner of Birmingham,
Oh yeah.
and so we've had four NFL guys come out of here in the last 10, 15 years, and then two CFL players just at this school. And you've got one at Trustful, and you've had three at Pinson. So you're talking about 8 or 9 professional football players in a 5 mile radius.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, there are a lot of good players that come from this area.
Yeah.
Now I will say two of those Pinson kids, I'm not sure they exactly grew up in Pinson. I know Mr. Nix did not for sure,
Right.
and I'm not sure Kool-Aid was Pinson all the way, but
Yeah.
but you get my point.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, not just Pinson, but all across. I mean, I know Alabama, but so I'll say all across Alabama, it's getting harder and harder to trace back where these kids are from because there's a lot of bouncing around these days.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of moving from one place to another.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that times have definitely changed. People are a lot more transient. People don't really tie down roots to a community anymore, like they used to. Um, and then also I think the trickle down effect of the portal has come into play into high school, and and at the end of the day, I think most kids, they want to win and they want to be on a winning team. And look, it's
Yeah.
not it started in professional sports, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you look at all these NBA teams who created these dream teams like
Oh yeah.
LeBron.
Hmm.
You got Shaq and D Wade or Kobe, and you had LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne
Kevin
Wade, and
Durant.
yeah, you got OKC, you got I mean, in Golden State, you had it in Boston. It's
Mhm.
a it's not an era where, hey, Michael Jordan, where I'm going to build it myself, and
Yeah.
like this is my school, my team.
Right.
It's like, hey, what's going on good over there? Let's go join them. If you can't beat them, join them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Hmm.
oddly enough, we've had some that we did beat, and they still joined them. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you just I get and I transferred.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I tell people that, after ninth grade, when I left Tarrant, I came to Clay. Uh, but I did not come to Clay because they were a championship program. They had just gone 1-9. Um,
In their
it
very
was,
first season. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was more of this is where all my friends from church go. It's where my wife went. Not at the time, she wasn't my wife, but she
Right.
became my wife. Um, but there were a bunch of other reasons for me coming to this school, and it worked out. We end up winning a championship, my senior year. But now I think kids are, and so I felt proud of that because I felt like I helped build that.
Yeah.
Um, and but now it's like kids are chasing things that aren't necessarily coming their way. You know,
Mm.
uh, they're chasing. They think they want to be this position, or they think they are this caliber player, when actuality they may be, just a step beyond that or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Um, we're going to try to do right by the kid. We try to project them where we think they can play, uh, not
Sure.
only here but at the next level. But for us, like I don't work for Alabama, I don't work for Auburn, I don't work for any of those schools. Um, yeah, are you doing that to me? Those fireworks in the background?
I didn't think so. I'm not
Okay.
clicking anything, so I don't know.
All right. Well, that was awesome.
It looked
Um,
cool, but I have no idea what
yeah,
did it.
I don't know. Something just happened. Um,
We'll
but
clip that. That'll be fun.
yeah, yeah. No, I like
Anyway,
that. But anyway, no, we're at the same time, like it's a fine line of like we're gonna do what's best for the kid and try to get them in the best situation for their future. But at the same time, like we need the best fit for our team as well. And so sometimes I think you have kids that they're getting different voices at home or their trainers. The trainers is a big thing right now. I think it's hard to tell where some of this advice is coming from.
that's what I was
Uh,
gonna ask you. Like, I like certainly at home, certainly on their own, scrolling, different recruiting services, social media, obviously. But I wondered about the like trainer slash scout slash 7-on-7, all those different titles that seem to be more prevalent today.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, and maybe it's not the trainer per se. I think, obviously I think that goes on some places. I know a lot of trainers. Some of them are good, some of them I don't, no, I don't, I don't trust them. But there's some that I do. Um, but I think what they have created and allowed is a breeding ground for these conversations. These 7-on-7s, you're training with other kids from other schools, and naturally, kids are going to gravitate towards other people that they're working with, and they bond friendships with. And it may just be a conversation of, hey, why don't you come over to my school or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they've created these open spaces for those conversations and access. And I don't think that people always have the best interest in mind because they'll promise a kid maybe playing time or scholarship or whatever
sure.
to get them there, and maybe that's not actually reality. Um, but they with social media, you have the access to these people anyway.
Yeah,
Um, we just try to do a good job here of making this the best situation for kids at our school. We want this to be the most fun because we had seven or eight kids sign out of 90 kids, so that's less than 10%, right?
right.
So for 90% of the kids, they're not going to play college football. This is it. And so
Yeah,
we want to make this, the most fun experience they can have. Uh, we want to make this a collegiate, as close as collegiate like experience that's possible because that's, for a bunch of them, that's as close as they're going to get.
yeah,
And so, I've told our kids, I don't have a problem when you go into a trainer, and working on your individual craft. I think that's good, but let's actually make it game like. Let's actually make it things that actually happen in a game and not just, all I see on Twitter are kids doing all these wiggle things or pass rushing. And
yeah,
those things they do happen in a game, but like all these, crazy releases that you do, like how many times are you actually pressed in a season? Well, not much. Like maybe in 7-on-7 that you play in, but in an actual game, most teams aren't pressing you like that. So
right.
the work that you're doing needs to correlate with the actual amount of time that you spend doing those things in a game.
Yeah,
I tell our kids like, hey, like I would love to see a video of you catching balls. like, catching different types of balls, high balls, low balls, behind balls, whatever.
Right.
But you don't ever see that video. You see them on cones and doing all these crazy moves.
Yeah.
And while you're doing all these crazy moves, the quarterback got sacked, you know, because the other guy, he's been working on his pass rush moves all the time. And so
Yeah.
he's gotten good at that, but like if you're a D lineman, like how many times do you actually pass rush in a game? Well, I mean, if you're playing Mountain Brook, you might pass rush 10 times out of 60 plays,
True.
So what I'm saying? It needs to correlate with the percentage, the time you're spending with your trainer doing certain things needs to cross over into the game, with the appropriate time. And
Yeah.
maybe they do that and they just don't show that. I don't know, but I just want it to make sense why you're spending all that time and your money. Uh, I would love to see a video of kids studying the playbook because them
Yeah.
suckers, if they spend as much time as they did this compared to that, then they'd know the playbook pretty well.
Yeah. You started that by talking about kind of doing what's best for the kid and kind of this era that we're in. Do you
Yeah,
think just for you, do you think when Coach Gilmer left for Hoover and then there's that gap in time of, no head coach until you're approved, which was what, probably about a monthish, something like that.
yeah, yeah. It felt like 6 months, but yeah,
I'm sure. Do you think it helped in this era where kids can, where a family's like, all right, well, we're just going to move to Hoover now, or, whatever, wherever. Do you think it helped that you already being a part of the program got the job as opposed to an outside hire from anywhere else, someone who had not been at Clay before or not the previous season? Do you think that helped, like, kind of galvanize the roster that was coming back?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely that period of time is the danger zone for any school where you got transition because you have people. I mean, it's like a shark, smelling blood in the water. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's nobody in charge, so let's start putting feelers out there. That's what
Yeah.
goes on. And I don't know who these people are, but it happens. I know it happens. But yeah, I mean, for us, it was a lot of uh, uncertainty to an extent that you kind of have to be with the kids, but you got to kind of put your work face on every day and not
Yeah.
let them really know, like, all right, we don't really know what's going on, but like we kind of feel like we do, but we're really not sure.
Right.
But I thought all the coaches here did a good job of, kind of masking that from the kids of just really the certain ability that we don't really know at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like we think we know, but we're not sure. But I thought everybody did a good job of, you know, individually to kids just saying, hey, man, this is where I want to be. Like, I'm going to be here regardless.
I
Um,
have no idea what's doing that, Stuart.
I don't either. I
I'm
don't
not
either.
clicking anything.
If I had to, well, I was going to say, if I had to guess, it's probably some of my friends, but they don't know that I'm on here. So, um,
Someone's hacked you or something because I'm not clicking
it,
anything.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you bring in somebody from the outside that really has no connection to anything in your community, I think you run that risk,
Yeah.
especially if you have turnover, every year, every couple of years. It's hard, a lot of parents, they want sustainability, they want stability.
Sure.
And kids, that's the biggest thing for kids is they need stability every day coming to school and to football. They want to
Yeah.
see the same people, with the same attitude, demeanor, day in, day out that they can kind of trust and build that relationship with.
Yeah. So right now it's what's it, early April. Y'all are getting back into the spring game stuff this year, right?
Yeah, so we've done we're in the middle of the 10-week deal that you can do in the off
Right.
season where you're 2 hours a week. I think we're in maybe week 8 of that. Um, and then we'll start spring training that first week of May. So we'll go for 3 weeks and then play Opelika on the 16th.
Okay, and y'all are going down there?
Yes.
They got a new head coach too, right? Did they get
Yeah, they
I'm,
got
I'm blanking. Coach
Brian Moore.
Moore from Hartselle.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Two
Yeah.
two new head coaches at their school. That'll be what do you hope to learn in games like that? Like what's the approach? Because it's not like one of those games where you're like, we gotta win this. Like what are you hoping to accomplish in a game like that?
Well, I mean, it depends. It's like it depends on what team you have. Like if you have a veteran team, you almost don't want them to play as well as they can because sometimes they
Yeah.
think that you know we're really good and we've arrived in April or May,
Right.
and I've been on some teams that's happened to, uh, and you almost need a reality check if you've got one of those teams. Now, this team we've got coming up, there's definitely some spots that we need to see kids like can they do the job or not, and so I hope that we find that we're going to be okay in those areas that we think are questionable. Obviously the big thing for us is building depth at some places. And so those are the two main things I think I want to see in the spring is, we've got a bunch of young kids that really haven't been in the thick of it when it matters.
Yeah.
And can they do that against a high caliber team like Opelika? And then can we create some depth from the younger kids? We're going to be young on defense this year. I think we've
Yeah.
got maybe 3 senior starters,
Okay.
and there's a few younger kids that'll be 11th graders that were starters last year. But you're going to have some kids starting that are they're going to be 10th graders, so they're ninth graders right now. And so we're pretty young on
Yeah.
defense. Offense is a little bit more, got some older kids. Um, but I do feel like just watching us right now, we're much further along than we were at this point last year. Just the overall communication and scheme of what we're trying to do, the communication's a lot better at this point than it was last year. Now, having said,
Do you think that's also because last year was year one back at Clay for you and
yeah, yeah,
some of that
yeah. I mean,
stability you talked about?
yeah, it's definitely the stability. It helps when you have a quarterback that, even though he hasn't played a lot of, live game varsity reps,
Yeah.
highly intelligent, knows the stuff. He's been with me for 2 years, so this is going on year three with him. Uh, and he knows the language I speak, and so that definitely helps. And then most of your skill kids are back this year. Uh, Really, you lose, obviously Mbakwe and Craver, and those are two big losses. But you've got, you know, 4 or 5 other guys that played a
Yeah.
lot last year that are back. So I feel like we're just a lot. This time last year, we were just kind of implementing a lot of things, and it was all new to them. But
Yeah.
right now, no, this is just kind of a refreshing course for them.
Yeah.
So, but who we're playing Opelika, I think they've got 38 seniors
Oh
this year.
wow. Wow.
So I feel, I've been keeping up with them on Twitter and Instagram. I've been watching their workouts, and we put
Yeah.
them up on the TVs in the weight room just to let our kids know, like, these this is who you're playing. Like, these dudes are working, man, and you can't take a day off, or they can win that day.
Yeah.
Um, so we're trying to kind of keep track with them, but you're definitely playing a veteran team, I think.
Right. And that quarterback you mentioned, is that Aaron?
Yeah, yeah,
How about that run in the semis when he came in for Jalen in that Parker game? We were all, when Jalen got uh put out of that game, it was like, were they ahead enough? Can the defense hold? And then I'm not gonna say Aaron came in and, you know, did what Jalen does. Nobody can. but
Yeah.
specifically that back-breaking run, I forget, was 70 something yards. I forget how far it was, but he I mean he really showed something there.
Yeah, it was kind of a busted play. The running back went the wrong way and almost knocked
Hmm.
him down.
Yeah, early,
He
yeah.
he did a good job. I mean, he I'll tell you what, man, throughout the year, like he just got better and better and better at practice.
Mhm.
To where like you could visibly see him like, all right, if we got into a situation, like he would be fine. I can help manage some of that for him and not put him in, situations to
Yeah,
where we're putting a lot on his plate. Um, and so I thought he did a good job of that, trying to just manage and, methodically, let's get some first downs and we get a field goal and then he, scores at the end. A lot of people were like, well, we didn't know he was that fast. And I'm like, well, we did because that sucker has been running for his life every day at practice away from DJ Barber. And
yeah, it's
so,
true.
yeah, we knew how fast he could be.
Well,
So that,
that's what I asked him post game. We got him over there, and we're talking to him, and I just asked him. I did the cardinal sin in journalism and asked a yes no question. Um, but that's the only way I knew how to ask it. Is I just said, Aaron, I said, when you broke through the line there, I said, was there anybody on that field? And now keep in mind, Naeem Alford's on that field too. And I said, is there anybody on that field that was going to catch you? And like I couldn't finish the question. He went, no, no, nobody.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
could just, I mean, was he a sophomore this last year?
yeah,
And he
yeah,
just there was a confidence there. He didn't seem surprised, but he also it wasn't like it certainly wasn't like bragging either. It was just like he knew he could do it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. He definitely has a quiet confidence about himself. Super, super kid, three-sport athlete.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, good parents. Dad's very quiet. Mom, she's rowdy, and he's kind of a mixture of the two, probably. But very good family. Brother's playing at Jacksonville State, playing
Yeah.
quarterback. And so I think that just from his family that he comes from, those are just expectations.
Mhm.
And that's this wasn't any. I mean, he's been doing these things his whole life, probably. In all sports, he's excelled. So, but I just thought coming in that game uh, with that crowd and that many Division I players on one field, like the moment wasn't too big. He was able to kind of manage that and get through that, and I think that'll obviously that'll help him going into the season because I mean really and truly like it doesn't get any bigger other than playing it in the championship game. It doesn't get any bigger than playing in that game. So I don't think anything he's in is going to overwhelm him this year.
Yeah. And in that championship game, like we had in Bryant Denny Stadium against Saraland, like we had kind of the front row seat. I was standing near Justin Burdett, who was an absolute mess at the time.
No,
Um,
that's a daily thing.
he'll love that. And so I wasn't like behind the end zone, but almost had kind of a down the line view, and it looked like DJ and company had stopped KJ Lacey short. But
Yeah.
you're up in the booth.
Hmm.
What was your view like right there? Was there like, okay, we got him, or was there like, did we stop him or not? Like, what were you kind
We
of at there?
Well, the issue is it was I think maybe the line to game was maybe at the 3. And
Okay.
so he was right at the first down marker, and I don't know if he actually would have gotten it or not. So it was like, did he get the first down? That was my initial thought, and then it was like the ball came out, and we recovered it. So then I'm thinking, well, they have reviews in this thing, so was it actually a fumble? And then I didn't realize that the time had run out.
Oh,
Um,
that was third on the line of thinking there. Wow.
yeah, and so and the other thing I was worried about was, we had a bunch of people run on the field at first, and so I'm thinking we're going to get a penalty that's going to put them on the 1.5 yard line if they say it's not a fumble. But all those things went through my head within a 2 second time frame, and so there were a lot of emotions and just not really knowing, and then holy crap, we won the game. I'd just gotten past the point of holy crap, he's not kicking it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I was still kind of, oh well, if they score, they win the game. So I guess we would have went into overtime.
Overtime.
No, no, what was the
It
score?
was 31-28, wasn't it?
Yeah, they needed to kick the field goal to go to overtime,
Right.
which I was maybe more for than him going for it. I thought maybe I felt pretty good in an overtime situation.
Yeah, the way it's
There,
set up for y'all. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we had kind of pounded them on the ground a lot that game, and I felt I definitely had some bullets in my gun that I had not fired yet, that I've been holding on to for probably most of the season. Other than Shaq's throwback, that's probably one of the only bullets I fired all year, down in that area. But there's,
Well, you fired it on national television, so that worked out.
well, where else are you going to use that play at? you know, I mean, it'd be stupid to use it in a game that didn't matter. Uh, and you got to be careful of when, like, I didn't use it at like a time where, if we didn't get it, we lose the game. Like it was one of those
Right.
situations like, if it doesn't work out, oh well.
Yeah,
But if it
non-region
works,
game at Thompson. Yeah.
yeah. But even the score, like if we didn't get it, like it wasn't the end of the world. But if
Sure.
you do get it, it goes viral because he's 6'12" and the size of a car. So that
Yeah.
that that was fun.
Yeah. So this year, I'm just going to run through this real quick. So 2024 schedule. August 23rd, Hueytown. Is that at Cougar Stadium?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
home.
And then next week at Ramsey, at Pell City, host Shades Valley, at Thompson again. Now a region game against Mountain Brook on October 4th, host Huffman October 11th, and then these three straight to end the year at Oxford, at Pinson Valley, at Vestavia Hills. How do you feel
Yeah,
about that schedule?
it sucks, but it's it's good in the sense that, what I like about it is we're playing almost every style that you can play.
Yeah.
So you look at a Hueytown, like these stretches of a Hueytown Ramsey, like you're not going to get more athletic teams than them, right out the gate. So you kind of find out where you're at. Obviously, Pell City's a lot better coached now than they were in the past. They were better last year for sure. Uh, Shades Valley, I think they got maybe Ramsey's coordinator came over, so maybe they're
Yep.
going to be improved. Obviously, Thompson's loaded this year, and then obviously Mountain Brook. That stretch with Mountain Brook or Thompson Mountain Brook is a tough 2 game stretch for us.
Right.
Um, so, and then you've got Penson, Oxford, Vestavia, uh, just those styles that you play,
Very
different
different.
very different styles, personnel groups. And so I think it's a good preview of what you can see in the playoffs. Because you're gonna, if you're gonna you play a Parker or something, I mean, they're very comparable to a Ramsey, a Hueytown
Yeah.
type team. Obviously, you're probably going to have to play Mountain Brook or Oxford or Muscle Shoals, and so I think if you play, Vestavia, like they're very comparable to Mountain Brook, Oxford, and so you just you kind of you build up that toolbox of how you play certain teams. So I think just playing those different styles, spread, condensed formations, Is it smash mouth? Is it wide open? I think all those things collectively help you going into the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's really all I got, Stuart, unless you want to tell me what you're reading right now. Any favorite gifts that have changed since last year? Most recent golf score.
Well, I'll say reading wise, I'm in the book of Deuteronomy right now, so it's tough sledding right now.
Yeah.
We're on the brink of entering into Israel with Joshua, so we're close. So that's where we're at in the Bible reading plan. Um, Latest golf score, I don't think was great. I did play the last three holes well at Silver Lakes a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But I also hit the clubhouse on I guess it was on 9, but I don't know which hole that is or which course that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, got stuck over in the second cut and just
Mm.
got water on the left. It went right. It was ugly, but
Overcompensated. That
got
water
got a
got in
bit
your
got
head.
got a big match on Saturday, I believe, with about 8 guys. So that'll be
Uh-huh.
fun.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting. Gift wise, I don't know. I use just my go tos usually.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll see one that I'll try out a new one, but
Right. You
know
gotta stick with the ones that you know. You gotta go back,
that's
always
right.
go back to the favorites.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you doing this, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all this fall at some point. Certainly now with we cover a lot of over the mountain, but Mountain Brook in region, we'll be there. Vestavia, certainly we'll have someone there. So looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing y'all this fall.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, sir.